Hi, welcome to Anaprime Recap. You finally managed to rise in the demon rank, becoming stronger and stronger and acclaimed by all the demons of the Netherworld, but by attracting so much attention, you end up creating new enemies along the way. We have reached the end of the first season of Welcome to Demon School. Episodes 20 to 23. The students of the Babel's institution are looking forward to the long-awaited closing show, where the winning battle groups and their respective prizes would be announced. All the students, coordinators and teachers are present to complete the long-awaited final event. The students are focused on achieving the long-awaited special award, which would grant an increase in rank to all members of the group. At this moment, one of the school coordinators announces the beginning of the ceremony and tells everyone that the ceremony will be presented by the president of the student council, Azazel Ameri. The girl goes on stage and thanks all the battlers for their presence and effort that year, saying that they were all ambitious to achieve the special award. That being the case, the award ceremony begins. In third place are the succubus battlers, who take the consolation prize. Throughout the event they used their elegance to keep everyone entertained, and for this they received many votes. As a prize, they will receive a luxurious club room, bringing more comfort and convenience to all succubus. Following in second place are the battlers of the new magic. The group was responsible for developing various experiments and spells that delighted the institution's students and teachers. As a reward, they will receive the mysterious WOW prize, a year's supply of black holy water to be used in further magical developments. And now, the last prize, the one that all groups long to win. Ameri says that this group was the most praised by everyone at the festival, and this increased even more their chances of winning the much-dreamed-of award. The president then declares that in first place, taking with them the special award, are the broadcast battlers. The club was responsible for always broadcasting the announcements and alerts throughout the event, helping not only the students, but also the teachers. Their efforts and perseverance were exemplary in disseminating information throughout the festival. With this revelation, the students have a variety of reactions. Some are happy that the winning group won, others are disappointed that they did not win first place, and some wonder why the magic apparatus battlers did not get the special prize, since they were the most applauded of the event. So, the ceremony was coming to a close, and to everyone's surprise, Professor Kalego intervenes and tells everyone that he has an important announcement to make. He explains that the Battlers' Festival that year was much more troubled than previous years due to one student doing something that could have hurt other students just to get attention, as a result of which his whole group would be penalized. But this would go against the rules of the event, so a new award will be added that year, the Cheat Award. This achievement will move a representative of the winning group up a rank. The students are shocked to hear something so unheard of. Kalego then declares that the group winning the Cheat Award are the Magic Apparatus Battlers. Asmodeus and Clara choose Iruma as their representative. The teacher of the Misfits tells the young man that it was dangerous to act like that, putting his own life at risk to save his classmates. Kalego also tells Iruma that he should trust and believe more in his teachers, because they would always be there when they need help. The protagonist is embarrassed, but agrees with the whole thing, so Kalego transforms the brooch that Iruma was carrying and officially declares him to be a level 3 student. All the students applaud and celebrate the achievement of the magical apparatus battlers. Surrounded by a lot of attention, Sullivan turns to his grandson and congratulates him on his well-deserved achievement, saying that the young man even lost his fear of being the center of attention after the festival. But when Iruma remembers this, he panics, because all eyes at the event were on him, with many reporters and interviewers wanting to know about the student's life, who always managed to achieve his goals. The next day, the protagonist and his group are on the cover of the school newspaper. The young man has become the most talked about subject of the entire Babel's institution. Later, the young man goes to Ameri's office. The president tells her colleague that she has learned of Kiryo's involvement with the incident at the festival. She says that Iruma was very brave to take charge of the situation to save everyone. However, the young woman says that they should immediately get back to reading the romance manga. After all, with all the events of the Battler Festival, they ended up not having enough time to be together. Thus, the two begin to read the incredible story of love and drama, but the romantic atmosphere is soon broken by the presence of Henri, Ameri's father, who is walking around the grounds of the school. The girl spots him and immediately goes out to find him, asking Iruma to wait for her until she returns. The protagonist, on the other hand, eventually left the room and was walking normally through the corridors, when he felt a strong and threatening presence behind him. The young man was at that moment face to face with the chief of police of the demonic world. The demon leads the young man away, and sitting on a bench, Iruma tries to understand what is happening at that moment. Henri recognizes that student is Sullivan's grandson, and he is the reason the warden left the prison at the customs house and broke several laws. The police chief realizes that Iruma is not a demon and tells the young man that in one of his jobs he found a human in the Netherworld, But unlike what they say about humans being devoured, there are correct protocols for dealing with them. Henri took care of all the paperwork and sent him back to the human world, but erased all the memories this human had in the underworld. Just then, the officer was about to ask if Iruma would like to return to his world, but the conversation is interrupted by Ameri's arrival. The girl tries to relieve the tension between her father and his friend, but in the end, she only makes the whole situation worse by telling Henri that she always meets up with Iruma after school, and during these meetings, the two of them have tea and talk about love relationships. Her father is in a state of shock after hearing all that talk. He feels a mixture of anger and confusion. After all, his own daughter had a strange relationship with a human. Ameri immediately takes her father to the school in an opportunity to put an end to this horrible atmosphere. The next day, Clara and Asmodeus spread to the whole school a special edition of the newspaper, which celebrated Iruma's rise in rank. The protagonist is put off by this news, but all his classmates are proud of him. The class realizes that the young man has managed to knock Kuromu off the top of the newspaper. The young man wonders, who could this Kuromu be? The students around him are amazed at that questioning, for there was no one in the Netherworld who didn't know who she was. Asmodeus defends his friend from his classmates, claiming that Iruma was raised in isolation by his grandfather's will, so that the young man never had such close proximity to the culture of the underworld. At least this is what the Wonder Boy imagined. One of the students tells us that Kuromu is a singer who is famous for her beautiful songs and her cute way of being, making any demon quiet with her show. At that same moment, Asmodeus explains to Iruma that all demons have something called the evil cycle, a period when the creatures usually become more violent and rebellious for no reason, relentlessly seeking a way to release all the hatred contained within. For these occasions, there are several ways to get the demon to return to its normal state and become calmer, such as playing video games, playing sports, and listening to music. Kuromu's show is a way for demons to have their negative energies drained from the music. In this way, everyone feels good after the performance, returning to a more peaceful and calm way of life. After this explanation, Iruma is called to come immediately to the transmission room, and the young man, not understanding anything, goes there with his two best friends. At the same time, in another place, the music star Kuromu was recording some videos to announce her concerts that would take place very soon. She is an outgoing, friendly, and cheerful girl. But when she is alone in her dressing room, we learn that the famous singer was hiding a tremendous secret. Kuromu is actually Karori, the student of the Babbles Institution. The girl leads a double life. When she puts on her wig, she is a music star. However, when she is without it, she is just a high school student, who, unlike her other personality, is always seen hiding in places, never likes to attract attention, besides being introverted, shy and quiet. In this way, we learn a little more about Karori's past, who since she was a child was not successful in school grades, being considered the least intelligent among her siblings. On the other hand, as time went by, the girl realized that everyone around her treated her differently. She didn't have to make any effort for the other demons to help her. Even in situations where she was in danger, they were interrupted when they saw her cute expression. In time, Karori realized that being cute could combat violence. Through this, she continued to keep her identity a secret and planned one day to take revenge on her family for being excluded all this time. But someone was hindering her plan to become more famous, and that someone is none other than her classmate Iruma. He was getting all the people's attention with his great achievements throughout his school career, taking the demonic star off the covers of newspapers once and for all. As Karori reflects on this, she becomes extremely enraged, even conjuring her ice spines throughout the room, at which point the singer's agent enters the dressing room and immediately asks the girl to control herself, otherwise everyone would discover her true identity. Kuromu's agent, named Mal, is one of the few who knows about Karori's secret, and with that, she asks the demon star to get ready, because her show is about to begin. The girl leaves her angry thoughts aside and goes on stage to perform a show with all her positive energy, but to her misfortune, in the middle of the performance, the girl spots Iruma in the audience, and with this, the feeling of hatred comes back even stronger. The protagonist was not on the show by a simple chance. In a brief recap, a few hours ago, the misfit young man was present in the broadcast battlers room after receiving a call. There, the group leader, Bathan Baraki, gives the trio 3 tickets to Kuromu's concert as a thank you for putting so much effort into the festival. Baraki claims that those tickets were given to the broadcast club, but since they were called to participate in the technical part of the show, they would end up not taking advantage of it, and so they were gifting the magic apparatus battlers with the tickets. The group of friends is happy with this incredible news, and a short time later, Iruma is at the concert with Clara and Asmodeus. However, to everyone's surprise, the protagonist was presented with a special ticket, and was allowed to talk directly to Kuromu after her incredible show. And now, Iruma found himself face to face with the famous singer. The girl tries to carry on a normal conversation with the young man, but cannot hide her irritation at having her taken away from the center of attention. Despite this, Kuromu also has to worry about keeping her secret protected. She makes several attempts to hide anything that shows her true identity, but in doing so, only ends up raising more suspicion. When Iruma was about to say goodbye to the girl, he says that they will see each other soon at school. The protagonist states that several factors contributed to him coming to this conclusion, such as the diary she herself showed him, the ice magic, the glasses, and finally, a mania Karori had of hiding her thumbs inside her hands all the time. Iruma tells his friend that he is actually jealous of her. After all, she has managed to keep her singing life a secret all this time without anyone suspecting. He then asks her to teach him not to attract attention. Karori takes this as an insult, and with this question, the girl ends up having an outburst of personality and anger. She faints and is engulfed by an extremely high fever, and Iruma must quickly call for help. A short time later, Kuromu's agent enters the room. She confronts Iruma if he had done something to the girl to make her stay in that state. The protagonist states that he has done nothing that could harm his colleague. The agent replies that the only way for the girl to get better would be to bring a relative with ice magic to lower her body temperature, or a qualified doctor. But since none of the options were viable at that moment, the show had to be cancelled. When Karori hears this, she strives to return to the stage. After all, she had the kind mission to destroy all the violence that existed in the hearts of those demons. Iruma continues saying that he will do everything to help her friend. The girl then ends up fainting again due to her excessive fatigue from having uncontrollably conjured her special ice magic. Near the concert venue, Ameri is pondering whether she should go there or not. The president ended up getting a free ticket because her father is doing the security for the whole event. The girl then decides to go with the intention of having fun and relieving her negative energies, and at this moment, she finds herself in the audience, hopeful and cheerful in order to reduce her stress. Later, Karori wakes up in her dressing room and immediately upon seeing the time on her watch, realizes that she has missed the show and most likely everyone is disappointed with her. But the girl hears in the distance that the audience was singing. The famous singer leaves her room and makes her way to the concert area. Without understanding anything at all, she finally finds out what was going on. The girl then sees Iruma, Clara and Asmodeus dressed as famous music stars, receiving the attention and admiration of everyone in the audience. Karori is extremely confused as she tries to understand how this was possible. Her agent explains that a few hours ago, the misfit young man came to her to ask for forgiveness and to help with the show until Karori had fully recovered. The woman rejected the idea that until then seemed stupid, but Clara and Asmodeus do not give up and try again and again to get approval to help in the show. After trying the agent's patience so much, the trio received permission to be the opening act of the show. Clara conjured up clothes appropriate for the event, and so the trio began to entertain the demons present in the room. The protagonist and his friends were able to make a beautiful opening to the event, using Asmodeus' flames, Clara's bizarre antics, and Iruma's sweet voice. A short time later, Kuromu takes the stage and in her thoughts she admires the courage Iruma had to perform, since he didn't like to attract attention, but with the goal of helping her friend, he didn't care about her fears. The quartet then gives an unforgettable performance show. Later, Karori meets again with Iruma and her friends in the dressing room. The girl thanks each of them for their help. Her agent also tells her that at the moment when the star of the show was unconscious, her family came to the place and renewed her icy strength. Karori's mother even told her daughter's agent that she couldn't stay. After all, if she saw the show in person, she would faint from so much emotion. The next day, the students are commenting on Kuromu's presentation. They are all in love with one of the members who has long blue hair. Karori is again angry with his classmate, but this time, it is only a passing feeling. A little later in the morning, Iruma was getting ready for school. The young man seemed to have gotten used to his routine in the underworld. After his breakfast, he walked with his friends to school. On the road, Asmodeus is challenged by Clara to a race to school. The Wonder Boy doesn't care for this kind of thing, but she insisted so much that the young man eventually accepted the challenge. The bell rings and the students are already in their respective classrooms. Some students at the bottom can't concentrate in class because of the new singer who made the appearance in Kuromu's concert. The girl had long blue hair and an unbelievable beauty that made everyone talk about her. However, the teacher, tired of all this talk, ends up turning her own students into frogs. The day passes at the Babel's institution and the students strive to get their schoolwork done, participate in physical classes, and finally work on projects in the battle groups. At the end of the day, Iruma goes back to reading the manga to Ameri. The girl continues to concentrate on the love story, but in the midst of her thoughts, the girl begins to reflect on the concert she had been to, where the singer called Irumi looked a lot like Iruma. The president has her doubts, but ends up remaining silent. After all, she could not jump to conclusions about her reading partner. At dusk, Iruma was getting ready for bed after a long day, but at that moment something finally awoke in his consciousness. He was already used to the underworld even though he was a human. The next day, the protagonist was walking thoughtfully toward the school. He recalls everything he has been through so far, from being captured by his grandfather on a fishing boat, to becoming a level 3 demon. His friends notice the sadness in his eyes, and to cheer him up they decide to make a special food for the young man. They have bought the ingredients at the school food store and are now preparing to make a delicious dish that will be responsible for bringing out the brightness in their friends' eyes. Clara decides to make a special recipe created by her mother, the famous exploding waffle. The Wonder Boy is afraid of what the girl will prepare and quickly takes the necessary precautions. However, as time goes by, Asmodeus discovers that the recipe was only for fried chicken. Clara continues preparing her recipe. Meanwhile, the Wonder Boy puts himself in a dangerous situation, preparing a dish that involves a specific ingredient that he is very afraid of, the dreaded demon tuna. Asmodeus spends the night making his special recipe, and the next day, the two friends deliver their food to Iruma. The protagonist tastes both dishes and tells them that both are amazing, but as he tastes both meals at the same time, he realizes that it is far more delicious. With this result, Clara and Asmodeus agree that together they are much better for Iruma's sake. At school, the bell rings and the protagonist, looking at his cherry tree, understands that his place is in that world, with his grandfather and the two people who would do anything to make him happy. What did you think of Iruma's adventures in this first season? What does the future hold for the young man and his two best friends? So, what did you think of this anime? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like it and subscribe for more anime recaps. See you next time.